if Jose Altuve would be playing. Kyle Tucker was definitely not playing, but the Astros came and they put their A game in. Well, at least Chas McCormick did and Alvarez did. And then Christian Javier came in and pitched as well as he could for 4 innings. But the Astros did what it took in the 8th inning and got it done. And they got another victory against the A's. And isn't that what you do? We'll talk about this and more on today's episode of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners will get $50 off a purchase of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement jewelry. Just use the code Locked On at the checkout. And guys, thank you for making the Locked On podcast, Astros podcast, your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, keep on subscribing, give us the thumbs up, and go ahead and keep on listening to us on your way home to work, on your way to work, on your way home to work, whatever I'm trying to say. Just make us your first listen. And we appreciate it on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just make us your first listen. And it is at Locked On Astros After Dark. It is 12:19, and we are excited to be here. We are teachers, and we don't have to go to work the next day. That's the great thing about these West Coast games is we can actually stay up. And thank you for the loyal listeners who are actually here grinding it with us right now. But Brett, this was one of those games that was kind of tight. I know that we saw that a A's runner thrown out at the plate, and otherwise it would have been a 2-1 A's game going into 8th inning. Then maybe Chas McCormick would have tied it at that point instead of taking the lead. But this was a very close game, the whole game. I know that Frankie Montas pitched a great game. Christian Javier, he didn't have his best game, but he pitched well enough to keep the Astros in.
Yeah, the Astros scratched across a win 3-1 against a beleaguered and not so great Oakland Athletics team. Frankie Montas went out and did his job. His offense didn't back him up. This is a bad team. This is a bad team with horrible attendance, with awful trash can banging in the background. Yeah, I said trash can banging because that's what it sounds like to me. And an announcer that sounds like Mickey Mouse. I mean, that's what this ball club is. It is just one of those things where you go into Oakland and you hope to win, get out quick so we can go on to Kansas City. Sorry, don't have a whole lot of love for the Oakland athletics organization as a whole. Those fans deserve better, Eric. That owner there in Oakland is really hasn't really done much for them. And I remember the late 80s and 90s and early 90s when they were competitive, the Bash Brothers and stuff. So it's just kind of frustrating because you go into Oakland and it just is a ball club that has a lot to be desired. Tonight, Christian Javier went 4 innings. And you and I were talking before the show. The 2 starts prior to this, he actually did something that no other Astro had done other than Garrett Cole back in 2019, where he had 9 strikeouts 2 games in a row with 1 walk or less. So he went 5.2 in 6 innings in his previous starts. But over his body of work this year, he's gone 1 inning 1 time. He's gone 4 innings once. He's gone 3 innings 4 times, and he's gone 5 innings 3 times. He's only gone 6 innings in 1 start. Today, he sadly only went 4 innings. Now, what that means is if he's not going then somebody has to step it up on the offense, and the bullpen has to come in and do their job. And the player of the game, Chas McCormick. Chas McCormick was 3 for 4 today with the big home run and big at bats. It was nice to see him help the Astros get across that run because he was playing right field in the absence of Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, who hasn't been hitting the ball well this year. Chas McCormick fills the void nicely because Altuve went 0 for 3. He was back, but he didn't do much. So you'd like to see the Astros get these wins. On the other side of the table, the Angels lose a big 9-1 game, and they seem to be in a tailspin. I don't know if you saw what Noah Syndergaard did tonight for the Angels. This guy, oh my gosh, he threw up a big, it was called a no-outer. And I've actually never heard of that. I don't know if you heard that right here. He was the first pitcher to throw a no-outer, allowing 19 straight hits before getting pulled against the Yankees.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I mean, we talked the last time we faced him. He looked really good. Hey, he's back from TJ. He looked good. This is one of the guys the Angels are really counting on. So tonight, everything went our way.
Yeah, and at the end, I mean, it looked like it was, like I said, neck and neck. But somebody said in the chat that the credit to the bullpen, but the bullpen did what they're supposed to do. They came in. You had Matan come in. He did allow 2 hits, but he settled down and didn't. He had didn't allow any runs. Then Stanek came in. He allowed a walk, but didn't do anything. Then you had Rafael Montero, who got credit for the win. He allowed 1 hit, but shut it down. Then you had Neris come in, and he got credit for a hold. He had 2 strikeouts. Then you had Ryan Presley get only his 9th save of the season. It's kind of hard to believe he only has 9 with how many wins the Astros have, but that's how it is. And the bullpen pitched 5 shutout innings. So that was pretty good. And if you look at the names on this list, these are basically the A-list pitchers in the Astros bullpen. And so in a game this close, this is the guys you're going to trot out there, not the other guys. These are the top of the bullpen guys. So yeah, of course you're going to see them do this in this type of game. And Christian Javier, he did walk 4 batters and he threw 85 pitches. His command was not exactly there, but to his credit, he did allow the 4 hits and the 4 walks, but he kept him in game, like I said earlier. And it just, unfortunately, just didn't go deep into this game as deep as I'm sure Dusty Baker would have wanted. But overall, Chas McCormick, like you said, he was the hero of this game. He was the guy that got it done. And if you want to be the hero for whoever it is, why don't you go check out Blue Nile?
Yeah. Oh, we're doing a live read already.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and move on because I don't even have that pulled up.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to go off to Chas McCormick coming back from the break. But yeah, we were talking about in the last show that you have Siri and McCormick. I know both of them are playing more often because of Tucker's injury, but one of them is going to possibly have to go down once you have Jake Myers coming back, because Jake Myers is coming back pretty soon. Potentially, he did play center field the other day. So McCormick is trying to say, look, I'm the guy, and Jose Siri's trying to say, I'm the guy. But in this game, McCormick definitely showed that he is the guy that you can trust, and he has more of a track record. And so I'm not saying that McCormick, I mean, I would say I would bet on him kind of being that guy, but Siri, he does stuff defensively that I still think that McCormick can't.
Yeah, so Bet Online is the best tasting. God, forget it. I'm gonna dub in the. Don't worry about live reads. I can't do them tonight. I'll dub them in.
Okay.
Sorry, not doing it.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to just overall what we had in this game. We had Pena. he had a hit. Then you had Alvarez. Alvarez beat out a hit. That was something that was pretty awesome. I mean, this is a guy that is a big guy. He's somebody that he's not going to steal a lot of bases, but he's somebody that definitely can beat a bunt hit, not bunt, but like infield hit. And this is something that he's done on a regular basis. And so he had an infield hit, and he also scored a run, and he was 2 for 4. He's raised his batting average back up to 266. He has a 931 OPS. Altuve didn't really do too much right now. So, but it's good to see Altuve back playing, because the whole thing was, is he going to be on concussion protocol? What's going on with him? What's going to happen in the situation? So, it's good that Dusty Baker said that he was gonna go ahead and play, and he said he looked good, and everything's gonna be fine. So it was good to see him back in the lineup and everything that happened there. Bregman did have an RBI today. He had a walk, and it looked. I believe, I want to say it was a bases loaded walk, if I remember correctly, but he still needs to get it going. And Gurriel had a hit, and we just need to get those two guys going. And it's just like, yeah, a lot of people are saying, no, he's come back. He just had some technology issues, but yeah, so I think that Chaz will be the guy over Siri once Jake Myers comes back. And so we'll see what happens. So how's your connection now?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just having a lot of technical difficulties. I'm having a hard time hearing, and I know my signal's a little slow right now. So yeah, just maybe it may be one of those shows. You may have to wrap the show up here in a few minutes by yourself, just because I'm just having a lot of issues here. This is just, hey, great win. Astros win 3-1. It wasn't the best of ball games, but they did enough to extend their lead in the AL West, and that's what I think we need to work. I think we need to worry about. You still have a lot of hitters in this lineup that are not hitting. You still have a lot of hitters in this lineup that just really aren't doing the job that they're supposed to do. When Brantley's hitting 267, when Bregman's hitting 226, when Castro's only hitting 104, I mean, your catcher position is an absolute void. McCormick is doing well. Henry raises average like almost, I guess, a little over 15 points tonight with the 3 hits. This club really needs to have a breakout game. And it would be nice to get against Oakland, who's pretty much a bottom of the basement team. And at the end of the day, you can't complain too much because where we are, but you wonder, are these offensive struggles going to continue? And if they do, how long? And if they don't continue and they end, who's going to bring them out of it? Because clearly a 2 home run game by Jordan Alvarez didn't bring them out of it. A home run by Chazzy Fizz didn't bring them out of it. They're still kind of where they are. And like I kind of mentioned, some people I think got upset about the fact that I said there's a lot of people complaining and panicking about the Astros and forgetting that they have the lead they do and not taking for granted what they've done or not done. But
Right.
this pitching staff, like you give this offense to the 05 World Series team, and I'm going to keep saying it, they easily beat the White Sox. This team, I don't see how it's mathematically possible that they continue to be as flat as they've been. Why? Because there's proof. You look at this offense put out, what they put out from 17 on. This offense is top notch. I mean, we are the second best record in the AL right now. And yeah, the Yankees are playing out of their mind, but they're going to come back to earth at some point. The Astros still haven't reached their full potential. Someone asked me earlier today, but do you think maybe they're not as good as we think they are? No, they're as good as we think they are and better. They just, for whatever reason, I think what's going on is a psychological game, Eric. I think it's mental. I think it's between the ears. I think it's under the cap. It's not in their hands. It's not in their legs. It's not in their ability. It's going up there. Hitting the baseball is hard. an interesting interaction with the Sugarland Space Cowboys. I saw Alex McKenna, a friend of the show tonight, and we were talking, and someone came up saying, "Hey, they had mentioned to me that one of the hitters for the Space Cowboys wasn't hitting because he was scared." And McKenna looked at this player and looked at this fan and goes, "How do you know that?" And they're like, "Well, I know the psychology of it, and I know all these things." And he's like, "Do you know how hard it is to hit a baseball?" And they're like, "Well, the previous night they went over 3 of 3 strikeouts." He goes, "Yeah, that happens often." And what was funny was this fan was trying to say, like, "I know what's wrong, and if y'all would just let me evaluate it, then I would be able to get them out of that funk." And Alex McKenna goes, "It's different there writing a paper than it is in the box. Like, get in the box and do it." And you could tell McKenna was clearly annoyed by this interaction. And I just looked at him and I said, "Look, we all know it's a difficult game." I was like, "Hey, man, go out there and have a great game." Sugarland Cowboys put him on it tonight. Corey Julks hit a freaking grand slam tonight. It was awesome. Lewis Brinson hit a home run tonight. It was like, we need this offense up in the major leagues. But it was a good game and a good event. If y'all haven't been out to Sugarland, y'all need to check that out.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking on Twitter. I see some people talking about it in our chat, and they're saying that they think Yuli Gurriel is done. He's 37 years old. He's not hitting. He's done. They need to go out and make a trade at the trade deadline for first baseman. I know it is now. It's June 1st already. Wow, it's June 1st already, and Yuli is batting 218 with a 615 OPS. He has 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. He has 2 stolen bases, and 165 at bats. I still don't think that the Astros are ready to cut bait on
No,
him
they're
yet.
not gonna. No, you're not gonna, guys. You're not gonna trade the reigning AL batting champion. You're not going to trade the Gold Glove first baseman. Who are you going to put at first? Who's going to play first? Not Yordan Alvarez. That's stupid. He doesn't. He's not a first baseman. You're not gonna put Kyle
Right.
Tucker there. That's ridiculous. We're not
Yeah.
trading Yuli Gurriel. Take that to Facebook. That's not a real take. I'm sorry.
All right. Yeah, I think that they'll wait till closer to trade deadline before they make that decision. And but I still think that they believe that Yuli will be okay. And so I think they'll wait. So do you know what the Astros record was at this time last year?
I don't.
It was 27-23. Their record right now is 32-18. Their record in 2017 was 34-16. Their
But what would do you know what their run differential was back then?
No, I
Because I
don't
know
have
they
that
were
in front of
scoring.
me.
I know they were scoring more runs back then. So, the worst record, but I'm pretty sure we were producing a little bit more offensively per game.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, most definitely. Because I remember at one point it was like, wasn't it like 200 or something last year?
We had a ridiculous run differential last year. It was insane. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
But it's like the offense just not there. It's not just the loss to Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is gone, but I think Jeremy Pena is picking up for his pace. I don't think it's just his loss. I think Martin Maldonado, Jason Castro, the offense there has kind of fallen flat a little bit. I think Yuli Gurriel has kind of dipped a little bit. You don't have Toro to kind of help a little. He helped a little bit there, but not that much. Bregman struggled a little bit last year. He's struggling a little bit this year. There's just a lot of a note like Yuli Gurriel. We already talked about that. So there's a reason why like the pitching is a lot better than it was last year. The hitting is just not where it was. And by the way, did you see the list that Bet Online put out about the
I did.
top hated players in baseball?
Now,
And
that was based off, right?
yeah, it's based off Twitter interactions, but all right. Yeah, it's like Twitter interactions. And the
Yeah.
top 5, number 2 is Jose Altuve. Number 5 is Carlos Correa. And way down at the bottom of the list, if you actually click on the link and see, is Kyle Tucker. I'm like, what the heck is Kyle Tucker
Yeah, I
doing
was
on the
like,
list?
who tweeted negatively about Kyle Tucker? I don't know. Yeah, that was dumb. And Justin Verlander's on
I
there.
think that's like a lot of people are saying, well, maybe that's just because he struggles to start the year. So maybe that's
But
why
he
he's got
hasn't. But he hasn't struggled.
no
He
to
only
start
has
the
one.
year. He always struggles at the beginning of the year. So maybe they're like, oh,
I
we need
know,
to
but
bench Kyle Tucker.
I know, but oh! I thought you
That
meant Justin Verlander. You're talking about Kyle
Kyle
Tucker.
Tucker, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody hates Verlander. Everybody outside of
and look,
Houston hates
I
Verlander.
love I agree with someone. I'm kind of offended that Jose Altuve wasn't number one because who boos this guy more than anybody, and who cheers when someone gets hit more than anybody? It's Jose Altuve. It's because he's one of the most likable guys in the major leagues. He is probably a better human being than most of the people that boo him and yell F Altuve. At the end of the day, he is the guy that you don't want facing your pitchers, especially if you are with Boston or New York, because he absolutely owns those two franchises. I would be surprised if he doesn't own stock in both of those teams or some sort of ownership because he has completely owned the Yankees. He has owned the Red Sox. And even though we struggle, and I know Trevor Story is hitting 3 home runs and blah, blah, this and blah, the Red Sox that, guys, it's all going to come out in the wash. The Astros at the end of the day are going to be at the top of the heap. They're going to win the AL. They're going to be back in the World Series. You heard it here. June 1st, 2022, 12:38 a.m. H-Town Wheelhouse is saying that the Astros are going to be back in the World Series.
Okay. Against who? The Astros?
So the Astros are going to be in the how would they play against the
Oh,
Astros?
I thought you said Dodgers. Sorry.
No, I said the Astros will be back in the World Series. I think it's going to be the Mets. I'll be real honest with you. The Mets don't even have their best two pitchers, and they're still kicking people's A. Um, I think that, I mean, the Dodgers, I don't know if you paid attention, Walker Bueller's lost a lot of velocity. He doesn't have late life on his fastball. Walker Bueller's not looking like himself. They're not. They were able to use Urias out of the bullpen. They can't do that because of injuries. Um, this 162 game season is going to be tough for the Dodgers to come out and win it. They haven't proven that they can win a World Series in a full season. They just
Right.
haven't. I mean, proof's in the pudding.
Right. Kyle Tucker he did run today. He was in a dugout with spikes on, and they asked him, can you play today? He said, yeah, I can. But he was not in the lineup. And then Lance McCullers threw 15 pitches off the bullpen mound in Oakland today. He hit 86 miles per hour. He threw mostly two seamers and changeup. He'll throw again on Friday in Kansas City. So they're taking baby steps with him. But of course, after everything that he's been going through, I think that's the wise thing to do. So the Astros are still, even after today's game, they are still among the league leaders in ERA. The Dodgers may have the slightly better one, but overall, the Astros are still up there in ERA, but they're kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of runs scored. And so uh, something's got to give. This offense is just too good to just. I'm not ready to. I mean, they're still winning. They're still playing good baseball. I'm not ready to panic yet, but at a certain point, they've got to get more consistency. They're,
Well,
they're getting the home runs. Yeah,
you would like them even against quality pitchers, Eric. You would like them to do something. You would like their bats to show up, score 5, 6, 7 runs. Hey, 2 games in a row, Ryan Presley, the offense hits into a double play. And that's baseball. The ball never lies, and sometimes it bounces your way, and other times it doesn't. I mean, same thing again. I go back to the Space Cowboys because that's where I was at tonight, kind of paying attention to the game, and saw at one point, like second, third, or fourth inning, that Montas had a no hitter going there for a few innings, and I was like, "Where are our bats?" And the Space Cowboys are lighting it up. And the last time I was there, they had the same pitcher on the mound, JP France. JP France got lit up in this game. He gave up a home run and he gave up like 2 or 3 runs, but overall he had a good game. And sometimes the ball just bounces your way. And the Astros are winning these close games.
right.
And they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. So what they have to do when they do come against competition, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, or whoever it is that has high-powered offenses, they've got to be ready to put across runs on the plate, because if they don't, the other teams are going to beat them at those games.
Right. And so if you look at it, the Astros are in 3-game winning streak. They're up 5 games over the Angels, and the Astros run differential is plus 43. The Angels run differential is plus 34. Here comes the Texas Rangers. They're at 500 again.
Yeah,
They're
they are.
24-24. Their run differential is plus 13. So they're
The
making some noise.
Rangers are kind of surprising me with being at 500, to be honest with you, because gosh, Simeon has been a nothing burger this year. He hasn't done hardly anything, but they've got a pitching staff that has some bright spots on it. Eli White's a very good player. They're not a terrible team. The Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners right now are playing really bad baseball. The Angels have almost fallen. Like, I heard MLB Network today, D-Row, Roflo, and all the guys were like, you know what? The Astros got this division in the bag. This is my D-Row's like, look, the Astros aren't relinquishing the AOS. The Angels have just fallen apart. They just don't look like they're going to recover. Nobody can be happy with their team in Anaheim. And at the end of the day, the Houston Astros, they got this thing sealed up. I don't see them giving up the lead. And I was like, man, D-Row must be thinking my thoughts or must be watching our podcast, because we've been saying the same thing. I've been saying that all year. Get the lead, keep it. Maybe the Rangers, Eric, can you imagine if the Rangers actually challenge? And I'm not saying get close, but they become the second place team. They become the main chaser. Because if the Angels keep falling off the way they are, I don't even see them coming close to being in second place at the end of the season.
Yeah. And a funny little note about run differential. It's getting late. The Blue Jays have a 0 run differential. So they've allowed
Really?
the same
Yeah,
amount that they scored.
their pitching was going to be a question mark going into this season, especially with losing Robbie Ray. And Robbie Ray hasn't really done much in Seattle, but
Right.
hey, did you see the youngest son of Roger Clemens got called up
Yes.
by the was
Cody.
it the
Yeah.
Tigers?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do
So
today? Let me see.
I don't know. He 4 sons. The youngest is the only one to get called to the majors.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So let's see. Clemens. I don't know if he played today, but no, he didn't play today. But he got called up today, and so yeah.
He'll probably play tomorrow. I don't know, but yeah. So he's up there, and shoot. Anyways, that'll be interesting to see if you have one of the Clemens kids do something, because that's a pretty strong name to have on the
Yeah.
back of your jersey.
Definitely. So, guys, hopefully the Astros are able to go for the sweep and take care of this next game. Who are they? Who's going to be on the mound on the first game in June? It's going to be. I had it up here earlier, but I went back to the other game. Oops, there it is. It's going to be 3:37 Eastern time, so that's going to be Justin Verlander versus
Cole Irvin.
So Justin Verlander is going to take care of business. Seth Brown's batting 500. Elvis Andrews batting 308. And Chad Pinder's batting 500. Then it gets Cole Irvin. You've got Alvarez 556 with a home run. Then you have Martin Maldonado batting 333 with a home run. And then you have Chas McCormick batting 500 and 2 at-bats with a home run. So
yeah, a lot of small sample sizes, but the bottom line is Justin Verlander's on the mound. He's 6-2. This guy should be 8-0, to be honest with you. And at the end of the day,
the
they
last
go
game
out
was
there.
kind of bad, but
but he still has done enough. He did. That was when he gave up. Was it the 4 home runs in Seattle? That was really his worst game that he's had all year, because before that he'd only given up 6 hits, was the most hits he had given up. But Justin Verlander's looking like a Cy Young this year. I see the Astros easily winning this and getting out of Oakland with the win. Then I believe heading to Kansas City
Kansas City,
after
yes. Oh,
after an off day actually.
and we're not going to face Zach Greinke. Zach
Yeah,
Greinke was
he's on the
supposed to face
IL.
him. Yeah. So
Yeah, he's avoiding the Astros. No, actually, Greinke's not having a great year. I'm really glad we did not re-sign him. Just
he wasn't having a great
because,
year for the Astros either. So that's not a big
yeah,
loss for that. So guys,
exactly.
that's all we got for this edition of the late night Locked On
Oh,
Astros
Lord,
podcast. We'll be back with another one following a day game tomorrow, so it won't be so late. So keep on tuning into Locked On Astros podcast, and we'll be back tomorrow. And go Stros for Eric Huysman and Brett Chancey, and we'll see you tomorrow.